The first question that we were asked was, how does our movie, how does it challenge conventions? How does it represent conventions? Conventions being the different types of things that are out there in the world. So, sorry, well, the most simple way to answer this question is what I should be saying is, with our movie, what we wanted to do, we wanted to, in a way, kind of represent, but then also challenge normal conventions that you see every day. A prime example of what I'm talking about is, for example, you look at our project. Our project is it's a sci-fi, kind of detective, like a buddy cop kind of movie. But the thing is that with buddy cop movies, what they do is they normally go against man-made things. All right, this is talking about the normal plot line and stuff. Normal antagonists in these buddy cop movies, the traditional ones, the conventional ones, is that they would have plot lines where they're going against man-made things. They're going against people that, mob bosses, robbers, burglars, murderers, things like that, drug dealers, drug cartel. But with our film, the preview that we created for our film, what we wanted to do was we wanted to change them. We wanted to change the way that these things are portrayed. We wanted to change the main antagonist, or should I say that's the way that we did change and challenge the convention is we changed the main antagonist. We changed it from something that wasn't human control. We changed it from mob bosses, from burglars, murderers, homicides, things like that. Things that man can do. So we took it out of their hand, and that's really where we went out and we changed it, and we added a kind of a supernatural aspect. The supernatural aspect that we added is the main antagonist is it's not in the hands of man. It's not murder, it's not a homicide, it's not a burglary, things like that. It's just in the hands of the supernatural entities that man cannot control. And that's probably the best way that we can answer the question. The second question that we were asked was, how exactly does our movie, how does it plan to engage with the audience? How does it plan to grab their attention, pull them in, and, keep them engaged throughout the movie? And I'd like to say that our movie does this in a number of ways, actually. Whether it be through plot, the plot development, the very characters themselves, the editing, the screen tricks work, the recording of the movie, the camera angles, all that kind of stuff. It creates an immersive flow that can be used to pull audiences in, keep them engaged, engage them throughout the movie. The first thing that I want to talk about is exactly the production sequence, like the plot per se. So with the plot, what we decided to do was, of course, as you should already know, is the supernatural aspect of the film. It is a buddy cop movie. Instead of having a normal buddy cop movie with the human aspect, we added the supernatural aspect. That's been taken care of. But I feel like this is gonna really help to engage audiences because the audience, they're not really. I feel like they're not gonna really be expecting it. When's the last time you've seen a buddy cop movie with a supernatural aspect to it? Oh, there's a third Mr. Car, so you know what I mean? Illuminati, third eye awakening, that kind of thing. So I feel like that's definitely a way that we can engage our audience. A second one was with the overall immersiveness of what we did. Like the production sequences. Now this what I'm going to talk about in this part of it is like the camera angles that we use. The materials, props, things like that. I feel like these are all ways that we can engage the audience. The camera angles that we shot, really made the audience feel like they were there in the sequence, in the shot. I feel like the props that we use is like. Audience, it's not too outlandish, things like that. I feel like it's something that the audience can relate with. It gives the movie a sense of realism, although it does have that supernatural, unrealistic aspect. But that's just a good way to answer question number 2. It's just a few ways that we can engage the audience with this film. The third question that we're asked is, how exactly did our production skills develop? How, what kind of skills do we what kind of skills do we acquire? Sorry, how do they improve? Things like that. And I feel like the best way to answer this question is just to sum up all the things that we learned this year. We essentially learned, how the production process works, how to film, how to edit, how to stuff like that, how to screenwrite, how to get the storyboard going. All right, sorry, but how to get the storyboard going, how to piece everything together when it's all said and done, how to get it out there, especially, pre-production, during production, post-production, those type of things. I'm gonna go into depth with some of these. So as for pre-production, I say that my skill set has increased. It's like exponentially. It's just gotten much better. And I say this because pre-production, what actually happened was I had no idea about things like storyboard writing, how to write a script, things like that. First off, I didn't know the first thing about storyboard writing, but then we had to learn about the trials and tribulations that you have to go through and get stuff done. So you have to think about these type of things before you can even start production. Then of course you have during production. During production, that's the camera angles, stuff like that. Trying to get the actors to do what you're saying, how to get what you're saying until you can match up with the script in the first place. And I'd say personally, that's probably one of the hardest things that we have to do. Then it's probably post-production. And what I mean by post-production, of course, is after we're done recording. And that's probably one of the most time-consuming things that we have to do. Not even the hardest, because that's the part we have to dump the footage that we got on the camera. We have to edit, learn how to do the sound tracking, camera tracking, face tracking, all that kind of things. And that's probably the skill set that's developed the most. And that's probably the best way to answer this question. So the fourth and final question that we were asked was, how did we integrate? How do we use technology throughout this project? And what they mean by technology, of course, is both hardware and software. And we actually did this. It's pretty obvious. Actually, we did this in a number of ways. So in terms of hardware, probably the most notable way to integrate technology, of course, is it's obviously the camera. With the camera, we use the camera to record, basic stuff like that. But then we also use it to have more complex things that every person might not know, such as different type of camera angles. The Dutch angle, tilted angle, over the shoulder shot, things like that. Then we also have in the hardware department, we have computers that we've used. We've integrated computers into technology. We use the computers to use it to edit, to hold the footage that we've recorded with the camera, of course. And then as for the second half of this camera, we have the second half of your question. We have the software side of things. So that's like the software that we have with the camera, selecting the perfect shots that we want in order to put it onto the editing software in order to piece them together and make a complete project. And so we integrate the software side of things with we have an editing software. That's one of the more notable things. We have an editing software that we use to stitch these things together, pick up the perfect shots for each thing. Of course, we also have the use of the internet. We actually probably owe the internet for most of our success. We kind of use the internet as a help for our tutorial, how to edit, how to do sound tracking, things like that. The internet, you may not know this, but the internet actually is a big source of inspiration for our entire project. Without a doubt, if the internet wasn't there, we'd probably have an entirely different project. That's pretty much just all the reflection questions.